Look at this side-by-side photo of these two tees. Which is better? Which had less of an impact on the environment? One way to gauge the impact of a garment is to look at where it's made. Different countries have different factory standards when it comes to working conditions, environmental regulation, and quality assurance. Our goal has always been to manufacture the best garments possible in a socially and environmentally responsible way. At Bella Canvas, we are all about transparency. So we want to educate you on exactly how and where our shirts are made in this final episode of our Us vs. Them series. It's no secret that Asia is the textile manufacturing capital of the world, with China manufacturing approximately half of the world's clothing and textiles. But it's come at a cost. Countries with cheap labor and low regulation are the biggest offenders when it comes to the environment and human rights. Several years ago, Bella Canvas made the decision to centralize our production through our USA Strong model, which has allowed us to create thousands of US jobs. What this means is we source the best long staple cotton from all over the world, and then dye and cut everything in Los Angeles. It's then sewn in our LA sewing factory or in Central America. Making the decision to dye and cut everything in Los Angeles was a necessary one for us in order to ensure we meet the highest level of ethical standards. Now, let's jump back to that industry tee. How do you make a t-shirt so cheap? Beyond cheap labor, you need cheap electricity, cheap steam, and cheap treatment of wastewater. Let's start with cheap electricity. Many factories in both Central America and Asia use petroleum coke, one of the dirtiest fossil fuels on the planet, which emits 11% more greenhouse gas than coal, along with lung-damaging sulfur. Almost all US cities, including LA, ban petrocoke, but this is what's used to power many of the dye houses outside of the US. Now, let's talk about cheap steam. Steam boilers add the precise amount of heat and moisture needed to transfer the dye to the fabric, making the dyeing process possible. So, how do you power these steam boilers? The industry uses biomass. This means cane sugar, African palm oil waste, or trees are burned to create steam, causing deforestation along the way. At Bella Canvas, we do not use this type of energy, and that makes a big difference when it comes to being environmentally friendly. We get our steam through an energy exchange within our dyeing and drying process. First, we collect the air from the dryers and pipe it into a thermal oxidizer. Next, the oils from the dyes that are remaining in the air are burned to create energy. That energy is then captured by a boiler that creates steam, and finally, the steam is used to heat the dye machine. You can't get much greener than that. The final thing to consider when dyeing fabric is that whole issue of wastewater. It takes a significant hardware investment to properly treat wastewater, an investment that's not necessarily going to come with the price tag of a $1 or $2 t-shirt. So one common way manufacturers treat wastewater is through desalination and circulation ponds. Wastewater is dumped into these shallow ponds, which extend over hundreds of acres, and allow the bacteria to eat the chemicals as the wastewater moves through these ponds. This, of course, disrupts the surrounding ecosystem, and the wildlife in that region is affected. On the flip side, Bella Canvas set out to reduce our footprint in two ways. First, by using as little water as possible. The dye machines we use are extremely efficient, using 7 times less water than the industry average, and saving 24 million gallons of water per week. The little wastewater we do generate goes to a state-of-the-art water reclamation plant in LA. The California Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, is the strictest in the world. It's thanks to the EPA's high level of oversight and regulation that we're able to ensure that no harmful chemicals are being released back into our ecosystem. Dye houses and treatment plants like the ones we use in LA largely do not exist in Central America or China, where many of the big manufacturers dye their fabric. So the next time you're deciding between two tees, do a little research and find out how and where they're made. In this modern era of corporate transparency, you should be able to find out where a company manufactures. Our USA Strong production is just another thing that separates us from them.